Hi, this is Bonnie with TLC Inspirations, and today I'm making a um, pocket organizer, and I have my fabric ready to go, and I've cut it out according to the measurements that you can see on the screen. And now I've got it laid out with my top fabric and my batting underneath, and I'm just kind of taking a look at it here and getting some measurements on what my sewing tools are so I know how deep I want to make my pockets. And based on my measurements and my scissors, I've decided I want my top pocket to be about 5 inches deep, and probably the next two pockets 4 inches deep. You can adjust that according to what you're going to use your organizer for. Here's my measurements here for a 5-inch pocket and a 4-inch pocket, what size fabric you need to cut out for that. So now we want to decide about placement and our embroidery design. I've put my fabric, I've dropped it top of the pockets 5 inches from the top of the organizer. And I want my first embroidery design to be in the middle of the pocket, and that's where my scissors are going to go. And so I've marked the middle, and you can see the fabric is folded in half the long way so that my fabric for my pocket is double and give it extra strength so it's not so flimsy. So I've got the middle marked, and then I want to mark the middle vertically. Now I have to allow for a seam allowance at the bottom where the pocket's going to be sewed on. So if my pocket's going to be 5 inches, I mark it at 2.5. So that's my target point for my embroidery design, which I will line up in my embroidery grid. And on the second pocket, I will be doing a little bit different. I want to design on each side for my second pocket. So I'm going to mark the middle and then mark the middle again, like between the outer edge and the center mark, and then you will put two designs on the second pocket and leave the middle blank. Okay, now for my designs I used Embrilliant's embroidery software so that I could alter them slightly. Now this is a design that says thread spools, but I just really want it to say thread. So I go in here and I use their lasso tool, and I'm going to lasso the word spools. I'm just going to drag this around to take that word off. So just gently work your way around the word, making sure you get all the stitches. And once you've got it lassoed, all you need to do is just hit delete, and it will be gone. So we'll go up here and hit delete, and now it just says thread. Now I'm going to go up here and center it again in my hoop. So you can move it around. Okay, I'm going to get it in the middle there. And then one other thing is on the very last stitch, I'm going to right click and it will give me a choice to tie it off before that last stitch. So make sure it's tied and secured. This is all done with the stitch editor in this software program. I really like it. It really comes in handy. Now, I don't really like the way the word thread is kind of tilted, so I can tilt the whole design and straighten that word out and put it at a little different angle. So Embrilliance comes in really handy for altering some of these designs so that I can get on with stitching them out. This isn't the one that I just showed you on the software, but I also altered this one and changed the angle of it. And this will be on my bottom pocket, or this is on the top pocket. This is my scissors one. So stitching that out. And now we want to remove our tearaway stabilizer. that I used. I also used a temporary adhesive spray to hold it in place in my hoop. So if you've done machine embroidery before, which I assume you have, just gently tear off your stabilizer. In a project like this, you don't really need to get all of it off. If you want to take the time to pick it all out, you can. That's up to you. All right, so there's our first embroidery design on our first pocket. And we're ready to think about attaching our pockets and going on to the second one. And you also want to give some consideration as to how you're going to divide your pockets. I'm going to make a center pocket and then a couple pockets on each side at different widths. Now for our second pocket, like I said, I'm going to find the middle and then find the middle on each half so that I can have a design on each side. I'm going to use my measuring tape and my needle and pins designs on this second pocket. This pocket is also 4 inches tall instead of 5. And you can go back and get the measurements for that. And so I've stitched out my first design for this pocket and hooping it with my tearaway embroidery and my temporary spray adhesive. And we're also going to top stitch the folded edge of each pocket. So after you've stitched your designs on, just take the folded edge and about 1/4 of an inch in, do a top stitch. And it's up to you what color threads you want to use, coordinate it with your fabric. Now, this is an optional thing. I decided that, actually my husband brought up the fact that my scissors might, after time, poke through the bottom of my pocket. So I've just kind of roughly marked where my pocket's going to go just to show you this. So what I decided to do is just to create a short little strap up above my pocket where my scissors are going to go, to keep them from falling all the way down to the bottom and putting pressure on the bottom of that pocket. So it's completely up to you. If you don't think your scissors are going to work their way through, or if you're not worried about it, then you don't need to create this extra little piece. But to do it, you just cut a short little strap, sew it along the side, turn the ends in and hem them, and then turn the fabric out using a safety pin, so you'll have a little strap. I'll show you a little later in the video when it's done. Okay, so now moving on, we're going to sew our pockets on. So you're going to want to mark where the bottom of your pocket's going to go, and then you're going to pin it along there. I also have the measurements up here. That would be 9.5 inches from the top if you're making it according to my measurements. And you put it face down, and you pin the raw edge to the front fabric, and fold it. And then once you get it pinned, double check to make sure you've got your 5 inches from the top of the organizer to the top of your pocket, and just make sure everything is straight and even. And then you're just going to stitch that all along there, and then fold your pocket back up. And you can wait until you do all 3 pockets, and then you'll want to go press all of this too, and so it just looks nice. And so now we've got the second pocket ready to go, and I put that at 2.5 inches below the first pocket. In other words, from the bottom of the first pocket to the top of the second is 2.5 inches. And so again, you want to mark where the bottom seam is going to go and pin it in place. And then you're going to want to stitch all the way across again to attach that pocket, and make sure you've got it even. So measure all the way across, like from the bottom of the top pocket to the top to the seam of the second pocket, so that it's straight. And you know, all of this is done on just your front fabric and your batting. You've got your batting, you know, pinned to your fabric, or in this case it's a cotton batting, so it just kind of sticks and stays in place. Okay, so now we're back to the little strap, and I've sewn it, but I haven't turned it right side out yet. I need to get a little safety pin and pull it out so that it's right side out. And then I'm going to figure out where I want to mark my center pocket. I'll mark it, I'll try to center my design as much as possible, measuring from each outer edge, and then my stitching to create my pocket will be on each side of my embroidery design, and then I'll line up my little strap at the right height. Make sure my scissors aren't going to drop too far down. And once I figure out where that is, and there's the point of the scissors, and then I'm going to pin that little strap into place, and then I'll just stitch it down with the machine on each side. Again, this step should be done after you create your pocket. And here I've created my pockets. I sewed it with a sewing machine first, and then I decided I wanted to pop a little bit more, so I actually used a hand embroidery split stitch and went over all of my pocket divisions. And if you want to know how to do the split stitch, you can go to our video library, and it's in Hand Embroidery with Me Part 2. Okay, so now we've got all of that taken care of. It's time to sew our front to our back. And that's a pretty simple process. You right sides together, front and back, and again your batting should be on your front piece already because you've sewed all of your pockets on. Okay, so you're going to sew all the way around, except on the very bottom edge you're going to leave about a 4-inch opening. And that's so that you can turn it back out, and it will look like this. And once you've got it turned, it's very important for you to go to your ironing board and press it all nice and even and smooth. Turn up your the hems in the little opening on the bottom, because you're going to stitch that shut when we do top stitching all the way around the outer edge. And then also in between the pockets, I'm going to do a little wavy, I guess you could call it a little wavy quilting stitch. Okay, so do your top stitching about 1/4 of an inch in. And then in between the pockets, I just did a little silly little random wavy stitch. You can do loop-de-loos or, you know, whatever you're familiar with. I'm not really a quilter, so I just kind of experimented with this and wanted to add that to my design. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed our tutorial, and thanks for watching.